Thank you all for being here. We are welcoming you to the August 4th work session meeting. Want to appreciate all the department heads that are here today to kind of update the board. Thank you for coming and participating. We're going to kick off with department head updates. I'm going to throw Kirk on the clock first and then make him speak. I know we've had a couple of pending contracts that were approved. The bids were put out a long time ago, and because of supply and all the other issues that have been going on, he's been going back and forth with our contractors. So I'll let you take the reins first.
Yeah, I've been talking back and forth with them, and the date I'm getting right now is somewhere between the 16th and the 20th, starting on Cove Road. And I talked very plainly with them that I'm tired of this getting pushed back. So hopefully this is our set in stone date to start on Cove Road. And I asked him if Grandview was going to follow directly after that. He said it should be soon after that. So that sounded kind of vague to me, so that worried me a little bit. But they have to be done. We've got a date in September that they are required to be done, and we're intending to hold their feet to the fire on it because they have wasted lots of time, in my opinion. In other news in my department, we're wide open on Talc Mine. If all goes well, we're gonna start putting down chip seal Tuesday on the half that we got done. And really excited about that, and we're gonna keep pushing forward, try to get as much done on the other end, try to get that in paved this year before weather sets in on us. Twin Mountain Lakes, we've been doing some work down there, and you may see some other places around town where we're digging up bad spots in the pavement, and right now they're gravel. No, we're not gonna leave them like that. As soon as we get done chip sealing on Talc Mine, we're gonna go back and cover over those sections and try to get them in better shape. But that's just the first step, go in there and get the bad spots out, get it filled up with gravel, and we'll let it settle for a few weeks, and then we'll drop back in and chip seal, and then we'll get done with what we're doing on Talc Mine right now. And that's about all I've got going on right now.
I know one that directly relates to you, but it's actually the water department that's been working on it, was over on Henderson Mountain going across Salcoa where some water line repairs were, and Phillips lined up to have pavers come out to get that set up, so they're trying to get that one fixed as well. But if you get calls from Salcoa and Henderson Mountain area.
Yeah, Kevin Moss is gonna go out there tomorrow and look at all of them and get me a price, and they got, Kurt and them's got one where they put a pipe in that he's gonna do, and so when he does that, he's just gonna take care of all of them. So, and it's gonna, I hate to say it, but it's probably gonna be an ongoing issue until, we can replace that pipe going across the mountain. So, but we'll get them repaired as soon as we can get them repaired.
And part of what he's talking about, that pipe sits on rock. I don't know if you drove across Henderson Mountain, across Salcoa, but it's all rock. So when you have the water line on the rock with water flowing through it that's getting friction, if there's ever been a spot where it's been ruptured more, it's there. So every time it does, it causes that to tear part of the road out to fix the water line. So there's not a whole lot of options except keep doing what we're doing and try to keep it alive, keep water flowing.
What we talked about.
The new line that they make that would work better on there is about twice as expensive in a year to get in. So there's no option to start replacing that right now. So that major. Since you're talking already on water, any other updates?
Yeah, we're gonna start hopefully. Well, it's gonna start Monday, but Tuesday we're gonna start running. We got 5,000 foot. We're gonna run on Long Swamp Church Road. We're gonna run it to the church. It probably takes a couple weeks to do that, maybe a month, because we do have to pull off and maintain our system. Still waiting on the EPD approval for Mullinax and Gibson Trail to tie back in over Hill City to create that loop, but we've got all the materials for both jobs. And so once we get done with Long Swamp, hopefully Matthews will be ready, and then we're just gonna jump straight into Matthews. Also Monday, we're gonna start, for folks on the west end, we're gonna start cutting right-of-ways. If you don't know, our water line's probably 20, 30, 40 foot off the road. on every road just about over on the west end, Jerusalem, what we call the Holy Land over around Jerusalem and Henderson Mountain. So I've created a crew or established a crew that's going to go in and start cutting those right of ways. That way, if we have a problem, we don't spend 2 or 3 days trying to clear it and find it. So, but
Crossings on the road or what? Those are what most people we talk about or call about, so I figured that'd be the best good start with. So after I put them on the spot, I'll just open up the floor to the others that want to go.
oh, thank you.
Let whoever wants to go next, just dive in. Mr. Harris?
On disaster declarations, past disaster declarations, Philip informed me that last week he got off the phone with FEMA, and on the Hurricane Zeta disaster declaration, we should be expecting a check for about $120,000 reimbursement for our response to that event. So almost 2 years since Hurricane Zeta, and we're hopefully getting some money here before the end of the year.
Good. You wouldn't say that in front of all the other department heads that are now gonna say, what are we gonna do with that $100,000?
Well, I'm gonna add on top of that, we're also gonna get probably 3 or 4 more checks from when the president raised the percentage from 75 to 90%. We're getting that 15% for everything that we've done got paid for. We're gonna be receiving that probably, it's at GEMA, the checks are at GEMA. So, and Ms. Boyd with GEMA said that hopefully will be mailed out within the next week or 2. So we'll be getting smaller checks before we get the bigger checks. So then that'll be, like Mark said, that'll close us out on Zeta, and then which if everybody remembers, we had Zeta, and then about a week later we had the floods. So we had 2 disasters back to back that we was working. So we'll have them closed out hopefully within the next 2 months.
Yeah.
So that'll give us time to breathe.
And I appreciate you getting public information out so much on the testing for the weather sirens the other day. We were walking into a meeting when they started going off, and everybody in the room started questioning what they were hearing, and I hadn't looked at my email or any of the messages that you had put on social media, and one of the other people in the room said, it was on Facebook earlier that y'all were testing your equipment. So, I've learned I need to watch your posts better than most so that I don't look like that when I'm walking in. But
Well, we missed you July because of weather, and error on the side of caution. We did not do them, and we didn't have any severe weather that day. So, figured we pulled the trigger yesterday.
Good. Appreciate it. Who else?
Recreation, still going strong right now with football. After working with our Mountain Football League, we'll be hosting August 27th, September 17th, September 24th, October 1st, October 8th, and October 29th football games at Dragon Stadium. Combination of youth football and flag football as well. We got 1 girls flag football team, first ever we've had. So we'll be having some dates just for them, and we're actually hosting the girls flag football Super Bowl. That'll be in October 29th, so that's going to be pretty cool. Along with football, tomorrow night is Meet the Dragons. We'll be introducing all the youth players, and then the junior high will be introducing their players. The high school will be introducing all their players. They're going to have jump houses. They're going to have cone of ice. They're going to have some food trucks there as well. It's going to be a pretty big event. Other than that, staying busy, keeping up maintenance on the fields, and yeah, football.
Do you have the time on Meet the Dragons?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's when the varsity will start scrimmaging each other, and they're going to jump off. The band's going to go on. They're going to do a performance, and they're going to jump off. Youth is going to go on there, call everybody's names out, and then junior high, high school, and then they're going to jump off, and then they're going to open it up to bounce houses and stuff after that.
Okay.
So it'll be a cool event.
This will be at the rec department?
No, it'll be at the high school stadium. Yes, sir.
Questions? I know we've got one pending project, another bid that we've approved is the lighting project down at Roper Park that they're getting materials together based on the last email, so that should be taking place soon.
Yep, still working with North Cobb Electric, who's the one who won the bid. hopefully they're gonna start getting some stuff in here pretty soon. Supply chain, it's like everything else, not an excuse. It's just the reality that we're faced with right now. We're getting some of the stuff, but Musco Lighting is where they're getting the majority of their lighting stuff at, and they've been working with them pretty good about getting stuff and getting it ready to start staging it at the park and stuff like that. So hopefully within August and September, you'll start seeing them out there with dropping off equipment and stuff to get ready to start putting in the lighting structures and everything else. So.
And following that, we can start on the path improvements and things, but they're gonna have to tear up sections of the path to put the lights across, so. Get that. Mr. King?
Well, I got a new system in plan out right now. It's actually gonna work out pretty good for us. Between Appalachian and Cove Road for June, we took in 214 tons of trash. July, we took in 219 tons of trash. If you break that down for July, that comes out around about 14,500 bags of trash we took in just for July. Actually 124 mattresses, 139 tires, and 113 pieces of furniture, so I saved from being on the side of the road. And then we shipped out for June, June, July, 251,000 pounds of recycled goods.
Good.
So that's pushing us on up, we're actually doing a lot more. Since Big Canoes bring everything to Cove now. And then I've actually got started on the paperwork and some stuff for that grant with EPD, getting that started.
So the EPD has a grant available to try to enhance or to change, and we've just got that information in recently. Start working on the glass crusher.
Glass crusher.
Yeah, to enhance the glass crusher that'll actually take it down to sand, so. Be a good one. All right. Who else? Mr. Fry?
We haven't seen the slowdown. I know a lot of my counterparts have told me that they have dropped off in permitting and so on. We seem to be okay. I guess we're a pretty good spot to be in that respect. 51 building permits, that breaks down to 15 site builds, 5 mobile homes, 2 miscellaneous, 22 miscellaneous, 2 commercial and 7 renewals. We've also had 12 plat approvals and 75 business renewals. So it's been pretty brisk still, and beautiful place on God's green earth.
It's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Anybody else? Any updates? You have any questions for any of the other departments? All right, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda was to get through the loss renegotiation recap, just to kind of give an update as to the process. It's got to be done every 10 years. It's got to be done within 2 years of the census. And so that kicked off. You've got to kick it off before July, and the county's the one responsible for initiating that process. So what we did is in June, on June the 10th, on June the 10th, we sent a letter out to all the municipalities to kick off a renegotiation process. Hosted a first meeting on June the 22nd with all the cities in town. So you brought everybody together. The purpose of that first meeting was to establish the renegotiation process. Went through establishing the schedule for three public meetings, established that they would be public, and then established that in the event of dispute resolution being needed, if we didn't have an agreement at the end, that it would go to mediation. That one of the requirements was to pick either arbitration or mediation. Everyone agreed that if we reach that point, that mediation will be the process. So we've hosted 2 of those meetings since then. We have one on July the 19th and on the 22nd. The one that was going to be this past Tuesday on August the 2nd was canceled. One of the cities had a couple people that were under the weather, so they canceled. Due to caution. We're attempting to get that rescheduled right now for next Tuesday. We don't have that finalized yet. I don't know if you get a response. Okay. So if that gets rescheduled, we'll have that meeting on next Tuesday. If it doesn't get rescheduled by next Tuesday, we're pushing. There's a 60-day window that we have before we have to go to dispute resolution. So from that first meeting till the end of the renegotiation phase before dispute resolution, we're kind of pushing on that clock. So hopefully we'll be able to have that meeting next Tuesday and go through. just to kind of give you an idea of where it's at, just so that you can see, I know that No Pickens has covered the story, covered with video, and the progress has done a great job running stories on each of the meetings so far. Our current distributions, the loss that has been in place for the last 10 years, actually this distribution's been in place for 25 almost, shows Pickens County getting 70% of the loss, Jasper's getting 25.7, Nelson getting 2.8, and Talking Rock gets 1.5. And I think just to kind of recap what lost is, local option sales tax, it was voted in 1985, so it was voted in Pickens County 35 years ago as a source of revenue to come in from sales tax to offset property taxes. It's not to increase the budget of any of the groups that get there, but it's as a source of replacement revenue so that you can roll back millage rates and reduce property taxes that are due. So all the citizens of Pickens County voted it in 1985, and it's never been removed. It's the percentages every 10 years have had to be negotiated back and forth, but the tax itself has been in place. So that's your current breakdown. Jasper came in first with their proposals during the first meeting that we had. Jasper's proposal was to change that to Pickens getting 63.38%, increasing theirs to 35.09%, taking Nelson down to 0.4%, and taking Talking Rock to 1.12%. That was their proposal that was originally presented. The rules of how this is done are kind of set by General Assembly. Is fairly flexible. It's up to every county to work out the details themselves. They had some criteria that have to be considered, but not followed. There's no set rule book. We then took the position of trying to break down the millage rollback to make that millage rollback be fair amongst all citizens in the county. Since it was voted on by all citizens in the county, we took the approach of how do we balance that to where that rollback is equalized out. And we kind of approached it with a two-pronged approach, with trying to get the millage rate to where it was fairly distributed throughout the county, and then also trying to look at our service delivery strategy and some issues that have been there for the last several years. And so we put it out as a two-pronged approach. And the reason being, 6 of the 8 criteria that are set in the law reference service delivery. So they all, 6 of them say that service delivery is one of the most important parts. So we knew that was an essential part of what we were trying to do. In our presentation that was given last Tuesday, on the 22nd, we proposed the breakdown of Pickens getting 77.79%, Jasper getting 16.21%, Nelson getting 2%, and Talking Rock getting 4%. Those numbers were what we had put out as our initial presentation. What we are obviously very far apart when you look at those. The separation kind of grew deeper and wider as they were presented. And to the citizen, I mean, really, that's why the process is set up to have mediation in place. If we go to mediation, then you have a trained professional that's sitting in the room to help kind of guide the conversation through, to go back and forth. We have till December 30th to work it out. I feel confident that we're going to do all we can to work through this process and go back and forth with them to get there. If we get there, we'll have one more follow-up meeting, and there could be great success at it. But at the same time, we have to be real and look at how far apart we are with the numbers. So just to kind of have an expectation that most likely we will be entering into a mediation process and going through, and that's just the way that the system's set up. But I think I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Bill Wood especially. Bill's been doing research like you would not believe to gather information, gather data. He's been working with the finance department with a couple of people there to do breakdown and double check numbers. Sloan Elrod's been contributing a tremendous amount of assistance. Lisa's been kind of the assistant to go in there, but they have really put forth the midnight oil on all the work. Phil is probably loving these phone calls of coming by here late in the evening or on Saturday to sit down and talk. But we've got a team with the county that's really been trying to do their homework and research tremendously. Roy is a historian of all historians, so he's kept everything since this thing was originally passed in 1985, and so he has the records in place that are there. So it's been a great effort from a tremendous number of people to get us to where we're at today. It's not over, and we're going to be continuing to go through. Sometimes it can look like just a fight, that's renegotiation, but the reality is we're here to represent the citizens of all of Pickens County, and they're there to represent their individual citizens from their municipalities, and everyone comes in to try to present it, and we'll continue to work through it and do it in a very professional way. So that's just an update where we are, so that you guys are aware of Phil, if I missed something. Did I miss anything you think that I need to come in? Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
You can.
What was the percentages for Nelson and Talking Rock?
For what we proposed,
Yes.
we proposed Nelson to be 2% and Talking Rock to, I actually reversed that number, I'm sorry. I'm glad you caught that. We proposed that Nelson be 4% and Talking Rock be 2%.
I didn't want to
just
get
flipped
them all
that number. I'm
excited.
glad you caught that. Yeah. That was my mistake in that one, so, good catch.
Just cleared up.
Any other
I was
comments, questions?
sitting here looking at the same thing.
I'm glad somebody spoke up and said it. So we'll get a phone call from Nelson by the time this thing hit YouTube. We'll know what changed. So, and Talking Rock having a party. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, if there's no other discussion, anybody else have anything that they want to bring forward during the work session?
I have a quick question. Kenny, the glass crusher you were talking about, I toured your facility back during the election and it was broken. So are you trying to repair the one you've got, or are you going to replace it with a brand new one?
Upgraded one that can keep up with the amount coming in.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I do want to make one comment while we got people here from the sheriff's department. Driving in the mornings and coming by Hill City School and seeing the presence that the sheriff's department has put out there for the school zone, it's greatly appreciated. I hope that people learn some lessons, because sometimes people coming in from other counties are in a real hurry to get wherever they're going. So, attaboy, attagirl for everything y'all are doing, and we appreciate it.
I think whoever's on that one for sure. All right. Anything else? And we will adjourn the work session. We'll have our 5:30 regular meeting shortly after. You laugh at us, we're all wearing coats because we actually have to go out here and get pictures between the two. So,
You got every
like school picture day.